All right. There he is. He's coming on there.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, there's Ethan.
Oh, hey, I know him as well.
You see me?
Man, starting
we
off
can see
strong
him.
here.
He's a wide eye. He said, "Hey, can you see me?" Of course,
Getting the
yeah.
ice cream cake off the porch.
That's right.
He's getting the ice cream cake off the porch. Hey, this is the Undrafted GM. Lo, you want to take it from here, buddy?
Yeah, welcome back to another episode of Undrafted GM, Super Bowl edition. We are officially, obviously, right now it's February 6th. Tomorrow is D Day. Made it through the whole season. I can't believe that. Um, Man, we got a lot of big stuff to touch base on today. Obviously, the Super Bowl. We do have a couple pieces of breaking news, both in the NFL. We got some pieces coming up with some sponsorships. So I want to touch base first on what we actually have going on here. We actually made a huge sponsorship connection for the Undrafted GM show here. Poppy, you want to go ahead and get that pulled up? Um, we actually sponsored with a semi-pro football league here in Arizona, the Arizona Cactus Football League, and yeah, it's a big deal. This is a semi-pro league out here in Arizona. I said Super Bowl, never heard of her. Well, we will. Yeah. Uh, Look, there's a lot of people that are disappointed. I'm disappointed myself. Um, by the way, shout out to Moms. I can see her over there. Um, but yeah, this is a big partnership for us. We are actually going to be doing a little bit of working with them marketing wise. We are actually going to I'm going to feature every week a AZCFL Spotlight Player of the Week. For those that don't know, I actually coach in that league, Team Arizona Spartans. So if you're out in Arizona, you're looking for good local football, you're looking for opportunities to connect and you ain't got to pay a bunch of money. It's $5 at the gate. But kickoff for the season is actually February 13th. The Spartans in particular start at 1 p.m. All the games right now are located in Phoenix. Yes, there will be COVID protocols and all that. You can view all that information on the AZCFL site. That is azcfl.com. So you'll want to make sure you go check them out. But if you're looking for the Spartans in particular, we're going to be at Sunny Slope High School at 1 p.m. There's actually going to be a bunch of games over there, as well as Cortez High School in Phoenix as well. But yeah, so jumping right into it, Super Bowl edition. Big news today. So just a couple hours ago, for those of you that are involved in watching the NFL, most likely you guys know who Adam Schefter is. He is a reporter, usually breaks a lot of the major news. Adam Schefter just announced 4 hours ago that he'll be on not only on the trade block, but there should be a deal completed within the next probably 48 hours. So pretty big news there. A lot. Let's be honest. If you're a Philly fan, you were hoping this would come. Jalen Hurts definitely had some things that he did really well this season. Me personally, I think Jalen Hurts could be the future for Philadelphia. Carson just needs a change of scenery. There's a lot of different teams I think that he fits with. If you're looking in particular for, you know, teams that run similar schemes to the Eagles, none of that's relevant. For Carson and his career at this point, I think it's something that getting a change of scenery, regardless of, whether it's he goes and starts, whether he sits, he just needs it for his mental health. I think that's a big part into what he's doing as far as some of the struggles that he's had. Um, there's a couple teams I do see a fit with. I do see a fit in Chicago. Now, everybody knows right now they're in the middle of being stuck with Nick Foles, Mitchell Trubisky. Um, Trubisky might stay. I don't see him as the starter. I think that'll be a situation where they move on from him pretty quickly, where they completely cut ties or they just be like, hey, buddy, listen, you're the number two now. So that'll be real interesting to watch. But I really do think Carson would be a good fit out there in Chicago, in the Windy City. Matt Nagy definitely, likes to pretend he's an offensive guy. It would be an interesting scheme fit, but I think it would be beneficial. David Montgomery looks like he's an every down back. They have some really good weapons. Doug Mooney looked like he really solidified himself, at least as a number two. But I think the big thing for Chicago to make that move would be what do they do with free agent Allen Robinson? You know, Allen Robinson, I mean, he had over 1,200 yards this year, so that was ridiculous, but he's a free agent this offseason. Chicago doesn't have a ton of cap money, so I think, they may cut some people. I think, I believe they were talking about even like a Danny Trevathan. So it'll really be interesting to see, kind of what transpires there. I also see him as a fit in Carolina. Teddy Bridgewater, he's a great dude. Everybody in the around the league talks about how much of a team guy he is, how great of a player he is, but he's just not getting it done. Carolina themselves they're a bit of an impatient franchise. I mean, look what they did with Cam. They decided, oh, hey, well, I realized in 2015 you took us to a Super Bowl. You pretty much are the backbone of our franchise, but kicked him and Ron Rivera out. I think they're going to restart over there after they lost Kyle Allen. I know that they invested pretty heavily in Teddy B, but I just don't see him being the future there. And they do have a pick in the early rounds, but none of the quarterbacks that are going to be worthwhile will be on the board. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that as well. We are going to have upcoming within the month of March, as well as into April, we will have draft talk. We're going to have a ton of draft talk. We're going to do mock drafts. We're going to do interviews. A couple other things I did want to announce while we're talking about interviews. Some of the stuff that we have coming up, okay? We have some pretty big interviews that are going to be happening. We actually have an opportunity where we're going to be bringing an NFL agent on the show. We actually have lined up, I want to say at this point, two or three former and a current D1 football player. We also have some opportunity for people even at the highest level. So we're going to be working through that. So you guys are going to want to make sure that you stay tuned for those things. But yeah, so that's some big stuff to watch out for. We're definitely going to be getting into that soon. On a little bit of a lighter note too, for those of you that are fans of football video games, NCAA officially announced that they're partnering with EA again. They're coming back out with the college games. So that's definitely going to be something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Oh, speaking of which, I just saw Jacob Thompson jumped in on the Facebook view. I know Kyle's watching. Shout out to my guys that used to play the NCAA games with me. So definitely a big deal. So that's funny that they jumped on right as that happened. But yeah, but speaking of the Carson Wentz stuff, so yeah, definitely be keeping an eye out to see kind of what happens with him. Like I said, I think Chicago's a fit for him. I think Carolina's a fit for him. But I really, truly think Washington is a fit for him. Ron Rivera likes those quarterbacks that are, mobile, that could do a lot. Washington's defense is almost championship ready. So having that ability to just plug a quarterback and play is going to be huge for them. I think you're going to see an entire different side of Carson Wentz whenever he does make that move. But other trade news, Pops, if you can go ahead and pull up that other graphic for me. It's actually graphic number 3 there. We had a pretty big trade. Yeah, there you go. We had a pretty big trade these past 2 weeks. I saw Mark Espo jumped in there. Actually, Mark, I would be interested to see how you feel about the trade. Okay. Matthew Stafford on the move from Detroit. He has spent over a decade with Detroit now. Jared Goff, they're both former, not just first round picks, but number 1 overall picks. So that's a really big trade. I'd be interested to see how people that are Rams fans really feel about having Stafford. Does he make that jump? Like, is he the piece that solidifies them? I'll be honest. I think that's a huge upgrade. I think that that's something that what Sean McVay is looking for is he's looking for a more consistent Jared Goff, which is what I think Stafford is. I think Stafford talent-wise is vastly more talented than Goff is. But Stafford loves play action. Stafford loves to sling the ball down the field. Kyle said it's so funny. Mark says, we gave a lot of money. Hope it works. Yeah, I mean, not only did you give a lot of money, you guys gave up basically your future picks. So the actual details of the trade, Matthew Stafford, went to Detroit. That was 2 future first-round picks, a 3rd and a 5th. So that's a big deal. So that's something that having, basically mortgaged your future on this move. Now, the Rams have seen a lot of success. They were obviously deep in the playoffs this year, the divisional round. They know that they deserve to be in the conference, if not the Super Bowl, especially with that defense. Having pieces like Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, they are going to lose John Johnson possibly, so that's a big deal. But having Jalen Ramsey, that defense is similar to Washington, championship ready. So implementing a guy that you think makes the difference. I was talking about this actually at practice with a couple people, and I think what Stafford does for the Rams and what they're hoping for is one, Sean McVay can kind of move those things around. And yes, Mark, to clarify, it was 2 first rounds picks. It was 2 future first rounds. So you'll definitely want to check that out because that's a big deal. But having the identity that they've had, the Rams have always been run heavy, right? Run heavy, play action heavy. And I think that's great. But Sean McVay is a brilliant mind right now. He's really one of the ones that are revolutionizing this new wave of offense. I mean, when I say new wave, everybody's like, oh, well, in the past couple years, passing's been so dominant lately anyways. It's been something that, the league has kind of transitioned to already. Yes, I 100% agree. But the league's taking it even a step further. We're going to see it tomorrow in the Super Bowl. Mahomes, that type of mobility, moving pockets, the spread offense, but the spread where your tight ends are isolated to one side of the field, your running backs are lining up inverted. Like there's so many different things that are happening now. And if you don't have a quarterback that can place it there, that's just what it is. I personally like Jared Goff. I think he's an average quarterback. I think his absolute ceiling would be like, reaching full potential would be Matt Ryan. So I don't really think it would be something that, going back, I think they regret using the first overall pick on him. I definitely think that he was worthy of a first round pick, but Stafford just adds an element and changes the identity from being a run heavy team that now the Rams can be a team that can shoot it out with teams like Green Bay. They can shoot it out with teams like Seattle down the road. Obviously, New Orleans, their identity's up in the air with Breeze, but it's a similar situation. If you get down late in games, Stafford's been proven to win those, right? But having the terrible ownership and the consistent coaching carousel and the up and down roster and, having Calvin Johnson for a good chunk of your career, but after you lose him, how do you adjust? Those things all play a factor. And I think you're really going to be able to see the best version of Stafford because even though, yes, he's tenured, he's spent some time here in the league now. I believe he's at his 12th season, is what just passed. But even that being the case, I still think right now kind of that knowledge meets what's left of his prime. So they believe they have a championship window. That's pretty much all this move said to me. Now, on the flip side, on the Detroit side, that is really, really confusing. You go out and you get a head coach that's super aggressive, talking about biting people's kneecaps off, and Dan Campbell. You last year you drafted DeAndre Swift. He turned out to be a huge win. TJ Hawkinson's been a huge win. But you have your 2 top receivers that are free agents right now. You have Marvin Jones. He's a free agent. He probably won't return. Kenny Golladay, that would be a huge monetary investment. So that would definitely be a big deal. But those 2 future firsts really change things. Those really do change the future. So if Dan Campbell really does come in and change the culture and he can get over the owner's lack of caring, that's definitely something that having that ability to, have those first round picks, it's kind of like a safety blanket, right? Because yes, you can get first round picks wrong, but if you have 2 in back-to-back years, one of those 4 is hitting. So either way, it's going to make you look good. So it'll really be interesting, that dynamic that they have. Obviously, they got a new GM as well. So it'll really be interesting to see kind of how they hold on to that, how they kind of transition into this new era. Because do they keep Jared Goff? Do they wait and invest one of those first round picks into a quarterback? There's so many quarterbacks coming out of this class that I wouldn't say all of them are, franchise worthy, but the top 3 are for sure. And top 3 being Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields from Ohio State, which I actually think Justin Fields is too. But it's really going to be interesting to see. And this move affects Detroit for the next 5 years. But I think it affects LA for, I would say, the next 2 or 3. They're going to know right away what they get as far as their ROI, that return on investment. So it'll definitely really be interesting to see. But another person, kind of the ripple effects that this has as far as some of the people that this also affects, this affects Deshaun Watson. This changes the market for him. Those were 2 teams that were definitely always in that conversation. Not so much Detroit, just because people really didn't expect them to, jump into that. They expected them to address it in the draft. But the Rams, that was a big, we didn't even know that they were technically in the quarterback market. There was always rumors, but it just changes the way that not only quarterbacks are valued, right? That trade market, how other teams attack trading for Deshaun Watson. So that'll really be interesting how much they're willing to give up for him. But I think that starts to send him to a team like the Niners. And here's the thing. As much as, I'm a Steelers guy, I would love to dream a world where Deshaun Watson winds up there. That's not going to happen. Big Ben will most likely be back. There's a couple teams I would love to see Deshaun Watson with, but none of them include the Jets. If Deshaun Watson goes to the Jets, in my opinion, that is the complete wrong move. I think he would do spectacular with the 49ers, but I really think as of late, they've been talking about taking Derek Carr and trading him and obviously adding different pieces to get Deshaun Watson. And I think that would 100% change the course of the Raiders and even the AFC. Having a team like the Raiders that's already, competing, they went, 8-0. That team could have been, at least a division winner. I mean, I don't know if they're going to beat Kansas City, but it definitely changes the AFC West. So you're going to see Deshaun Watson start to consider teams like Oakland, Denver. And when I say consider, obviously he's going to be traded, right? But Deshaun Watson pretty much has final say because he has a no trade clause in his contract. So being the fact that he has a no trade clause, he can pretty much pick and choose what trade he approves. Now, obviously, there's certain situations that the Texans will be like, no, we're not doing that. This is really going to show and really influence kind of the level of power. We saw this in the NBA. LeBron kind of paved his own way. He was like, look, this can't just be an owner-only decision. I'm still a person. And so Deshaun really has a lot of power here. It's going to be interesting. You're going to see all sorts of teams take a run at him. Atlanta will take a run at him, I think, which would be interesting with Julio being on the back half of his career. You're going to see teams like Denver. You're going to see teams like Oakland. Honestly, if I'm Jacksonville, I'm throwing the first-round pick at him, the first overall pick. And a lot of people will give me flack and say, oh, well, Trevor Lawrence has this much. Deshaun Watson is proven in the league. Trevor Lawrence is still technically an unknown. Obviously, they feel confident. They feel like he's an Andrew Luck type guy where he's going to come in right away and contribute. You know pretty much what you're getting him. That's not really true. You have no idea until he takes that first snap, right? Until he gets out there and he starts performing on a consistent level. Deshaun Watson is the second best quarterback in the AFC and, third best quarterback in the league. So I would even say third or fourth, maybe, if you want to include Rodgers in there, because I'm talking about Mahomes. I still think Russell's more talented, Rodgers and Deshaun. That's your big four right now. And Deshaun will, wherever he winds up, it won't be with the Texans. I'm just going to ruin that for any Houston people out there right now. Unfortunately, he's pretty much declared he's not messing with that. So it's really going to be interesting, but you'll see that Stafford and Goff trade. That's going to be referenced a ton when they talk about the different discussions for Deshaun Watson. Now, moving on to the big thing. Oh, Pop, I saw you pop back on there. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's about 20 minutes after the hour. I think we should sneak in a sponsor or two. What do you think?
Let's do it. Go ahead and do it.
Give me 30 seconds to talk about the Espinoza Group, a group within the real estate firm in Gilbert, Arizona. Sherry says what many agents don't take into account is that it's not just the house itself that dictates how we go about marketing and selling it. That's why in my career in real estate for over 20 years, I've developed systems, processes, and resources specific to each different situation you might be in. Visit their website at www.azhomesbysherry.com. That's azhomesbysherry, SHERI.com. Or you can visit their office at 1521 East Elliott Road, Suite number 104, Gilbert, Arizona 85234.
Experience the difference.
All right. Hey, I want to talk about one of our newest sponsors, and that's Mythical Beards. Mythical Beards has some pretty awesome stuff. And I noticed, Logue, as soon as I said that, you started rubbing your beard there.
That's right.
Mythical Beard, they offer beard oil, beard balm. They offer like a solid, what do they call that? The solid cologne. There we go. I needed a solid cologne. So they offer all kinds of products. If you go to mythicalbeards.com, check out everything that they offer. Their products are fantastic. They're very affordable. And I have the balm right here in my hand. It is the smell is fantastic, and it doesn't leave a greasy residue on your face. So check them out. If you've got facial hair, you've got to get yourself some beard oil or some beard balm, and mythicalbeard.com is the place to go. So check them out.
I appreciate you doing that segue, Pop. Yeah, that is our newest sponsor, Mythical Beards, them and Arizona Cactus Football League. Those are really big ones for us. So make sure you guys check both of those out. That's azcfl.com. And then again, mythicalbeards.com. You can also check them out on Instagram. Mythical Beards has a really awesome Instagram where they preview all of their different products. They have ones named after Cyclops and all sorts of awesome stuff. And I believe the Cyclops one is like a pecan scent. So definitely going to have to check out some of those. Really quick, you see me looking down a bunch because we did just get some breaking news. The Offensive Rookie of the Year has been announced. The Rookie of the Year has been announced. So the Offensive Rookie of the Year is Justin Herbert. And so if you guys are watching this right now, I think that's pretty insane. Not in a bad way. Let me clarify that. Because as far as that goes, from the beginning, probably week 4, I thought, Justin Herbert was on that path. Like, he was going crazy. But after what Justin Jefferson did, I really thought that Justin Jefferson would wind up clearly in that conversation, if not the clear-cut winner. So definitely going to keep an eye on that. The NFL awards are going on right now. So if you're looking for stuff pre-Super Bowl to watch, definitely tune into that. Bob said, who wins it tomorrow? We're definitely going to get into that because I want to talk a little bit about that. And then, Kyle, to address your question, they have a ton of stuff. They have balms, they have oils, they have all sorts of skincare stuff. So you got to check them out, mythicalbeards.com. And so, just being in the situation that we are right now, right, with COVID and all these different things. Pop, I'm going to have you pull up that graphic for me. There was a pretty crazy situation this week. So if you're checking out the screen right now, that is Daniel Kilgore. That is the center for the Chiefs. He actually just got cleared. Basically, what happened is there was a guy that was cutting hair for the team. Okay. And obviously the NFL's in this crazy COVID stint right now. Everybody in the world's dealing with that. And so the funny story with this is, as you guys can see, half his hair literally is cut. But what's insane about that is there was about 20 different Chiefs, including Patrick Mahomes, that were at this barber. Okay. And they were all sitting there waiting to get their hair cut. And, with COVID, they have to clear them. They have to make sure everything's good, especially being within the Super Bowl window. And there was actually a positive test within the barbershop. Now, I wasn't clear on if it was the barber himself or what the case was. But basically, when Chief staff found out, they came in and yanked all 20 guys out of the room, including the guy in the chair, which is Daniel Kilgore, that guy that we were showing in that picture. And the barber wasn't even able to finish his haircut, shaved him down the middle and left it as is, had to pull him out. So Daniel was nice enough to share that picture of himself with half the haircut. So that'll be pretty crazy to keep a tab on. Now, he was cleared. Those guys were cleared. So I don't think there's been anybody that's been held out as far as that incident. As to my knowledge, before this, there was 2 Chiefs that were held out. One was a receiver and one was a lineman. Nobody as far as the starters go. I'm not sure if the receiver was on the 53-man roster or not. If he was, yeah, I think he was 6th or 7th on the depth chart. So it's not like somebody's going to be getting a bunch of PT anyways. Now, as far as the Super Bowl, let me just come out and say it. I'm really torn. I'm very torn as to who can win, or not who can win, who will, because this is kind of unprecedented in this is what I like to call it, okay? This isn't we've been hearing a lot in politics about the peaceful transition of power and those sorts of things, right? And I think it's funny because I think that's a great way to talk about the Super Bowl. I think that this is going to be less than peaceful, but I do think it's a major transition of power, especially if Mahomes wins. Brady and Mahomes, I mean, they're the epitome of the future, the past. I mean, you guys got to remember, I was watching, I actually had a buddy, Connor, he tagged me in the 2003 NFL quarterback challenge they used to have at the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. And, that's Tom Brady at his youth. He had just come off a Super Bowl win. I mean, that guy was out there still throwing it 65 yards. It's crazy to think about how much ground he's covered in such a crazy amount of time. And think about that. 2003 was 18 years ago, which, coincidentally makes me want to throw up. But, at that time when Brady was playing in his first Super Bowl, they said Mahomes was like 6. That's insane. And so we're really, shuffling in the new era. I mean, the NFL has changed from a running league to a passing league to now we went through a trend of strictly mobile quarterbacks to now you have to be a pocket passer that has the ability to be mobile. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when Cody Barlow was on the show, but it's really crazy to think about. Tom Brady's been in so many Super Bowls in, my lifetime alone. That's most of what, I remember as far as my NFL watching period. And, all the way back to 2002. I mean, that's insane. So with that being the case, it's going to be really surprising. Tom's with a new team, a new offense. He got them here. Think about what he's been through. He beat Drew Brees. He beat Aaron Rodgers. He beat Russell. He's gone down the list, right? If he beats Mahomes, not only does that solidify him with 7, there's no more questions about the greatest of all time. That pains me to say. It does, because I am not a Brady fan by any means. But it's just like Jordan. You can't deny greatness, okay? If LeBron goes on and wins 2, 3 more rings, what are you going to say at that point? There's nothing that you can say. The greatest wins the most. And not only did he win the most, that man transferred to the complete opposite conference to a team that last year wasn't even in the division running. And not only, went to the Super Bowl, but did it going through the type of quarterbacks that he did, whether they're past their prime or not. It's remarkable. I think it means even more for Bruce Arians. I don't know if they lose this year, how long of a leash they're going to keep on Bruce Arians and his health. It's the epitome of, he said Illuminati. It's the epitome of pocket passer versus this new era of what you expect quarterback to be. The mobile, uber talented, you got to make the plays. I mean, think about this. They're doing moving pockets with Mahomes, where what I mean by that is, ball snapped, the pocket normally forms around you, right? And they used to call it the pocket of love for pocket passers when you get that full 3 or 4 seconds. But now Mahomes is in situations where he'll snap the ball and he'll start sliding to his left and the line moves with him. That's insane. That's a whole new era of quarterbacking. It's because his arm talent isn't limited. He's not limited to not being mobile. He can make throws 60 yards to his left, 60 yards to his right. And that's what we're going to continue to see. And that's what coaches, even at the lower levels, they're starting to coach that passing mobility. They're starting to coach fundamentals where you work on throwing and throwing at a, moving target while you're moving. Like there's different levels to these things now, and we've seen great quarterbacks for years and years and years and years. Randall Cunningham was a favorite of mine. Warren Moon. I mean, we watched Steve Young. Like Mahomes is all of that and more, and for him to be facing arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, it could be a really awesome transition of power. It could be obviously he has his one ring. That's great. But I feel like that was the tip of the iceberg for Mahomes. And I think, I mentioned Bruce Arians. I think this puts Andy Reid in a different conversation, which is nuts to me because let's think about this. We're talking Andy Reid from even 5 years ago. People are having the same conversation. Oh, yeah, great coach, but never could close the deal, never could get, over the hump, went to the Super Bowl one time, struggled with Donovan McNabb, this, that, and the third. Like Philadelphia Andy Reid pretty much doesn't even exist anymore. Kansas City Andy Reid is a different beast. And on top of that, the offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, this is huge for him. All these teams hired all these other coaches, the Jags, the Jets, like all these head coach openings came up. He didn't get considered for any of them legitimately. Meanwhile, he should have been the top pick out of all of them with maybe the exception of Urban Meyer. And I don't even think then. If he goes out and calls a great game and blows out Tom Brady, this elite defense that Tampa Bay's put together of guys like Jason Pierre-Paul, Levante David, Carlton Davis, like for them to be able to overcome that and really call a great game, Eric Bieniemy can basically look everyone in the face and be like, yeah, you're not worth my time. So it means so much more than just the normal Super Bowl because this is a legacy-changing Super Bowl for more than just the quarterbacks. Think about, even Tyrann Mathieu. That guy's, obviously they won a Super Bowl, but think of what he went through in Arizona. He went to Houston, had to get out of there. Went to Kansas City, but still really, wasn't piecing it together for a while. Went through those 2 ACL surgeries early in his career. That's a big thing. Now we're talking about 2 Super Bowls. Is he up there with some of the greatest safeties of all time? That's a conversation you really got to start having, right? We're talking about, Le'Veon Bell left Pittsburgh. Antonio Brown left Pittsburgh. They're both in the Super Bowl from 2 totally different routes. They both wound up being and exploring different franchises and it not working out. Antonio Brown went to New England. Le'Veon went to the Jets. They both were like, nope, this is not the situation. I mean, Antonio Brown, kind of lost it. And it's really kind of, this is one of those quote unquote, we talked about it on the episode with Joey Counts, one of those full circle moments. This is Tom Brady came in and was the young phenom and was the guy that everybody needed to beat. Now he's full circle meeting that guy, right? Even Mahomes, that dude was not undrafted. He was a walk-on, not just once, twice. That's crazy. And so for that to be, Kyle said Honey Badger is a bit of a stretch for me at this point, but we've talked about Ark in the past. We'll see. Here's the thing. When you talk about Hall of Fame, okay, Brady is a no-brainer. If they don't put him in first ballot, the Hall of Fame's pretty much for naught. Mahomes, if this guy stays on this arc, you're right. We did talk about that. If he stays on this arc, same thing. It won't even be a question. But they're really kind of redefining what that expectation is of great. Because let's say Mahomes wins. Man, he beats Tom Brady. He beats an elite defense. He beats a coach like Bruce Arians. And again, last year's Super Bowl was great. That was a big win for him. But Kyle Shanahan was a young coach. Jimmy G was a new starting quarterback. The Niners weren't expected to be there. That's a young team. They might be back next year. This is different. These are tenured elite players. He's playing guys. They have weapons throughout Tampa Bay's offense of guys that are all former first-round picks. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, like these guys, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, the list goes on and on. Now we're finding out guys like Scotty Miller are huge contributors. For Mahomes to not only be able to keep pace with that, but really go above and beyond will just kind of prove his dominance, because his dominance is great. Don't get it wrong. But right now the AFC runs through them and Baltimore. It's not, he didn't go the path that Brady went. The NFC quarterback wise was stronger. Mahomes is facing guys like Tannehill. He's facing guys like 17-year vet Phillip Rivers. Brady went through Rodgers and Breeze and Russell and, played the NFC all season long. It really changes how both are viewed, because let's be honest, the biggest debate with Brady was, is Brady Belichick or is Belichick Brady? Is it the system? Is it Tom within the system? Is it just Tom? Is it just the fact that Belichick can adapt to anybody? And if anybody got exposed this year, it was Bill Belichick, right? Bill Belichick went out, said, you know what, Cam, come on over. I'll build the system around you. Josh McDaniels will build the system around you. Didn't happen. Not the way they wanted. There's a lot of legacy on the line tomorrow. There's a lot of opportunity for. Now, here's the other thing. This could be a Seattle-Denver situation for Kansas City. Kansas City could come out and blow them out of the water immediately, because Kansas City's that fast. Travis Kelce's a generational talent. Tyreek Hill's a generational talent. They could blow them out of the water immediately. Or you're going to see a cool, calm, collected Tom Brady come in and just plug away and plug away and plug away and really take his time. I think Tampa Bay is going to go a little bit more run heavy than we expect tomorrow. I think Kansas City is going to try to play aggressively. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? Tyreek can run, 65 yards downfield. If I can hit him in stride, that's all that matters. But it really, I don't even think this is a battle of coaching tomorrow. I don't think that, I've talked about how it impacts Bruce Arians. I've talked about how it impacts Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and I do. But I think that it affects them in a way that's relevant to what happens between Brady and Mahomes, what happens between this generational trade-off that we're looking for. So it's really going to be interesting that, this is going to be something that I think it affects the next 5 years. Because let's be honest, if Brady loses, does he come back? I wouldn't. He's talking about playing until 45. That means 3 more years. Or let's see, 2 seasons, rather. Because he's 43 now. And if he does, is he going to compete again? Will he have as great a run again as this? Is this his greatest run as far as the list of teams he's need to beat, the list of people that he's need to face and overcome? I think it is. The Patriots have always been talented teams. They've always had talented defenses. I believe all of their defenses for every Super Bowl run was top 10, if not top 5. They've always had great special teams play. Now, don't get it twisted. Tampa has a lot of that too. Tampa's defense was good, is good, will be good. But it wasn't that level of good. There was times where Brady had to do Brady things. There was games where you were like, Tampa Bay will never make it to the Super Bowl. And now you didn't question it. The minute they got in that NFC Championship game, you didn't question it. Kyle says, I hope he chokes on a chicken wing in the offseason. Man, at this point, with all that crazy pliability workout and stuff, I'm surprised he hasn't torn something permanently. And, but the future is guys like Mahomes. The future is guys like Deshaun Watson. And I believe Trevor Lawrence will be that. Russell Wilson will be that. There's going to be great quarterbacks that come along, but are we seeing the greatest that will ever play this game? You really have to take that into consideration. Or are we seeing the greatest that will ever play this game, and it's Mahomes? I think as far as his legacy and his Hall of Fame pursuit, this is a monumental game for the rest of his career. If he beats the GOAT, that's it. There's no more questions. Pop, I know you're still on there. Let's go ahead and take that other commercial break. We'll come back and talk more about some of the awards that they've given out.
All right, cool. We'll be right back. Give me a moment to talk about one of our sponsors, Gray Feather Farm. Phyllis wrote back on December 22nd, by far the best products I've ever bought. Don't waste your money on drugstore products that don't do what they say they will do. Shipping is always extremely fast. Can't say enough good things. Highly recommend everything Jennifer sells. Guys, February's coming up and you know what that means. It's going to be Valentine's Day soon. So if you missed out on these products for Christmas for that favorite little lady in your life, make sure you get some for Valentine's Day. Place your orders now. Go to the link below this video or go to saywhatyouvillradio.com. Go to the sponsors area and click Gray Feather Farm. You'll get free shipping anywhere in the United States. Now back to the show. All right, Lo, I want to tell you about Nut Tree Designs as well. If you haven't been to Nut Tree Designs Company on Etsy, you've got to check it out. One of the coolest things that they do is they make these handcrafted or hand sketched, I guess, if you will, or etched cutting boards. And so if you have, let's say, maybe a family recipe that's been written in maybe your grandmother's or your great grandmother's handwriting, what they'll do is they'll take that recipe in that exact handwriting and they will like scribe that or script that, or I'm not sure if I'm using the right word, but they'll put that into a cutting board that you can use. Then you can hang in your kitchen or you can give out as gifts to family, to loved ones. It is the coolest thing. I highly encourage you check it out. Go over to Nut Tree Designs Company on Etsy, and they have pictures of and of course they have other products as well. But that is such a unique product, and it's such a great way or such a great gift to give someone on Mother's Day or something like that. So check it out at Nut Tree Designs. I'm all over the place today. Nut Tree Designs Company on Etsy. Check them out today.
All right. Well, thanks, Pop, for the sponsor slot. We appreciate all of our sponsors so much, guys. We really do. A couple different things. Let me go ahead and address what Kyle said, because he said Kyle and Katie are the ones that own Nut Tree Design Company. That's Katie's company. He said, we digitize the recipe and engrave it right onto a functional cutting board. He said, thank you. Ain't got to thank us, bro. That's all you guys. We appreciate the hard work you guys do. Really, really, truly, especially for Valentine's Day. Go check that stuff out. You guys would definitely appreciate it. Now, Donald, I hope you're still in the chat room. I got to address that. So I was going to update everyone. They are announcing the Hall of Fame right now, the inductees this year. There's some crazy names on there. The first person I saw inducted was Charles Woodson, okay, which absolute guaranteed he needed to be first ballot. If they've officially announced Calvin Johnson, that makes my heart so happy. That dude deserves every bit of it. So again, I saw Charles Woodson was officially in there. Calvin Johnson, I knew he was on the list. Yep, there it is. That's awesome. Another big one. Let's see. That's right. Peyton Manning's on that list. Wow. I can't believe it's been 5 years since they've been done. That's incredible that it's been 5 years since Peyton's played. Kyle said it's all relative because people thought the QBs of their time were the best of all time. We proved them wrong simply with time. And here's the thing, okay? You know, when you look back, we were having a conversation. I was having a conversation with one of the guys on the team. His name's Martwan. Martwan was debating that Phillip Rivers was a better, he said, quarterback than – who was his example? There was quite a few people. One of the people in there was Warren Moon, and we were saying that he was ridiculous for that. But, you know, and the reason I bring that up is it's funny because when you think about, he had mentioned Dan Marino too, which he's 100% wrong about. When you think about guys, let's take Dan Marino, for example. That dude was throwing for almost 5,000 yards in an era where running was dominant. I mean, people just did not throw the ball like that. Yeah, I'm a little biased to University of Pitt guy, la, la, la. But it is relative. It's hard to see greatness when you're around it. I mean, think about the fact that Jordan was just in the 90s the 80s. Like, that was not as long ago as some people think. I mean, the fact that you got to experience that type of greatness, and then we turn around and we get to see LeBron. It's the same thing with the NFL. I just think Tom Brady he wants to be in that Jordan conversation. He wants to be in that, all time, I'm one of the only athletes on earth, and he has been. Unfortunately, there's only so many players that have 6 championships, and their names are Jordan and Brady. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. And for him to go out and get 7, unfortunately, he's in that conversation. I think Mahomes is someone who could chase that 100%. I really thought Russell would have went this year, and I would have thought he would have been in that conversation. But yeah, I mean, watching guys like Peyton, not only be retired, but get into the Hall of Fame, it's really hard to put in perspective just how much greatness the late 90s, through the 2000s, how many great players have played within that time. Brett Favre, I mean, Peyton, even Eli, 2 Super Bowls against Brady. I mean, it's just, it is really hard to put in perspective. But if there's one thing I want everyone to take away for tomorrow, even if your team's not in it, you hate Brady like me, you're not a Mahomes guy, whatever the case may be, enjoy tomorrow for what it is. If that game comes out to be a 6-3 game with all field goals, I wouldn't be shocked. If it turns out to be 52-48, all passing, it doesn't matter. But enjoy it, because regardless, these are 2 of the greatest chess players that we've seen to date. Brady is the best chess player in football, and you're not going to get an opportunity like this again. So if there's anything that you take away from this, enjoy the game, the process, even the plays that seem minimal. It's all strategy. It's all opportunity, and it is all Brady's doing. It is all Mahomes doing, because I promise you at no point did Andy Reid or Eric Bieniemy ask Mahomes to throw no-look passes. At no point did they ask him to throw with his left hand. At no point did they ask him to roll all the way to his left and throw on the run. Like, that's just – those aren't game-planned things. Those aren't scripted things. There's a couple guys that I'm excited to see tomorrow. I think Mike Evans is going to have a big day. They mic'd him up in the NFC Championship game. That was fun to listen to. Tyreek Hill, that guy's going to go nuts, but I think Travis Kelce is going to go crazy. I know we're getting close to the end here, and I'm just kind of beating a dead horse, but really, truly, please, if there's anything you need to take away, enjoy the game tomorrow. A couple other updates I just want to announce as far as some of the things that have been announced, because they're still announcing the NFL Players Honors. So obviously, just to kind of recap, Offensive Player of the Year, or Offensive Rookie of the Year, rather, was Justin Herbert. They did come out and officially announce Defensive Rookie of the Year, Chase Young. Not a shocker there. Well-deserved. They have named the Defensive Player of the Year. Now, for us Pittsburgh people out there, this might be shocking. I personally picked this guy over T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt did not win. It was Aaron Donald for the Rams. Another pick guy, so I'm not mad. And then they named Offensive Player of the Year Derrick Henry. Another great. That guy's going to be phenomenal until his knees can't do it anymore. And then they named the assistant coach, AP Assistant Coach of the Year, which was the offensive coordinator for the Bills, which 100% agree on that. Josh Allen's going to be one of those talents too. But, man, talk about that whole class. What was that, the 2018 class? Josh Allen, Mahomes, all that. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, that just – I mean, Baker showed up well. The league's got a bright future. There's a lot of quarterbacks that, are floating around. We don't know what's going to happen with Dak Prescott, where he's going to wind up, whether it's back in Dallas or he moves on. Cam Newton's in flux. This offseason – off-seasons are always a frenzy, but this is league-altering off-season. This is, this changes the next 10 years this offseason. Think about the fact that Mahomes was with the Lions for 12, and now he moved locations. Jared Goff was with the Rams for 3, and now he's gone, or 4. Like, Drew Brees may not be here. Let's say Brady wins. Maybe he retires. Phillip Rivers retired. Some of the all-time greats are going away. So if you didn't get an opportunity to stop and smell the flowers, as they say, tomorrow, do that. Even if you don't like him, enjoy Brady being there just for the competitive nature of football. Even if you don't like Mahomes, enjoy the fact that he wants to go up against the greatest and beat him. It's going to be monumental one way or another. I know we're wrapping up a little bit early today, but I do just want to say thank you. This was the Super Bowl special edition. Big shout out to all of our sponsors, Wiley Beats, Espinoza Group, Great Feather Farm, Nut Tree Design Company, especially our newest ones, Mythical Beards, the Arizona Cactus Football League. Again, if you guys need more information on them, go to saywhatyouyouwillradio.com. Please do me a favor. If you're watching this right now, go on YouTube, search Undrafted GM, hit that subscribe button. You can also go on Instagram, follow us there. It's at undrafted_GM. But most importantly, go like Say What You Will Radio on Facebook. Share this video out as much as possible, whether you do it through Facebook or share the YouTube link. Either one's greatly appreciated. But unless you got anything for right now, I think I'm pretty good to go. So yeah, I think until either next week, we may have a gap next week. We still haven't decided just based on travels and stuff. But other than that, Pop, you got anything else?
Well, a couple people here in the studio audience were wanting to know who your pick is for tomorrow.
My official pick. Oh man, this is gonna hurt me. I'm picking the Bucks. The official pick is the Bucks.
All right. And what are we talking score wise? What do you
If
think?
we're gonna talk score wise, oh man, I'm gonna say.
I did. Traitor. He's a good boy,
It's hard. I'm gonna say Kansas City scores at least 3 touchdowns. I want to say Tampa Bay scores 4. So I'm gonna say at least 28-21.
All right, fair enough. All right, good. And Aunt Kelly says, "Good job," because she's Aunt Kelly was picking the Bucks as well.
That's right. Shout out Aunt Kelly.
All right, that's about it. That's all we got. I am actually going to pick Mahomes in the boys. So
I don't blame you.
I think it's going to be a squeaker. I think it's going to be. I think Mahomes. I think he's got the last, and I think he goes down and gets the winning touchdown in the last couple of minutes of the game. We'll see what happens.
Part of me hopes you're right, man. Part of me hopes you're right. I kind of would like to see Brady go out on top because it's been fun to root for the villain for that long, or root against the villain for that long. But man, it's just been fun to have somebody to root against. So it'll be interesting. But either way, tomorrow, I just think
right.
the thing is the game. The game's a win in and of itself. And Pops, I do want to address something that Katie said. You better be bringing me back some Yingling, some stadium mustard, and some of the other things that I require from Pennsylvania.
We can do it because we're not flying. We are driving, so we can whatever we can fit in the minivan. You just let us know what you want.
Lots and lots. All right.
All right. Well, listen, next week we'll be back in the studio, back in the Say What You Will radio studio in Mesa, Arizona, so it won't be as awkward. But I think, all things, aside, I think we did pretty good job. I think you did a great job, Lo, from your remote location there. And but I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Katie Nussbaum and Sherry and Mark Espinoza, Kyle Nussbaum, Donna Malone was in the room, and just everybody. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Jacob was in the room, and just thanks for being here. Thanks for participating. And we just ask, if you need something that our sponsors offer, go to our sponsors first. Just give them a shot. You can find everybody on saywhatyouwillradio.com. Until then, Logue, we will see you next week back in the studio, and we'll talk about our predictions. We'll talk about the game. You'll have a lot to talk about after this tomorrow night's game.
Oh, yeah.
Is he there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right. Well, anyway, There we go. Anyway, we will catch everybody next week.
Have a good week.
Take care. Yes.